Hi, my name is Daniel. I play Yi Sang, and welcome to Heroes of Aeowe.
Okay, so they are obviously not out here to be some type of military contingent. So um, I am going to go ahead and start making my way up the stairs as stealthily as I can.
We have it where you all have finished packing. You have gotten your horses back. The flash of light that has been in the air clearly signals something moving. Military, specifically Koi's unit of guards, you guys, and a contingent of the City Watch who wear bright yellow uniforms, scramble down causeways and wooden walkways made out of old boats. And you guys find yourselves scrambling amongst a throng of scared and terrified people. What do you want to do?
So the expeditionary force is still sort of getting themselves together. I just realized I had options in terms of horses. So what type of horses is the expeditionary force using? Draft or riding?
Clearly, they're used for riding.
Okay, because that's the fastest one. All right, I was just making sure. Because if they weren't, I could at least get a couple people there faster if I was riding versus the other. But
They are clearly using riding. The horses that are even used as transport horses are kind of, in real life, they'd be known as an Arabian. They're very nimble, well suited to desert and rocky conditions. They're also swift, as the wind is the famous thing with them. They're used in a lot of racing, or ancestors of racing horses.
okay, yeah. So that's probably the same form I would be using then. Okay, that's fine.
So you guys, you turn into a horse,
Yeah,
Aaron?
yeah, I'm turning into a horse again because the plan was to get moving, so I'm ready to get moving.
Yeah, Howie's ready to get moving. She'll take a horse as well and follow Aaron because she thinks he knows what to do more than she does. She's not used to all this adventuring.
If he could talk, he'd tell her that's probably not a great idea, but oh well.
Koi's blue cloak fans around him. He looks back at Yi Sang. Have you got your saddle correct? He says.
Yes, I think I'll follow the rest of my party, and then she'll also follow Howie.
With that, Koi figures out that you're a horse, Aaron. He says, This way. Listen up close. We're gonna go fast, and we're gonna ride hard. Or in your case, gallop hard. He grins roguishly. Come on. With that, a burst of reddish orange flames appears in the air above his head as kind of a signal for you guys to follow in this sort of semi darkness. It is pretty bright with the two moons, but still.
All right, we ride into the night, I guess.
You do. Back into the deep, dense jungle. Birds, crickets, all sorts of animals are going like the whippoorwill, which is a type of bird. They sound kind of mournful, like a mourning dove, or sort of like a cuckoo, 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 like the cuckoo birds. And as you ride into the dense jungle, mist swirls up. You find yourselves riding hard for the next, as I said, week. You make it in less than a week and a half. Then you find yourselves stumbling to the edge of a great drop down. Meanwhile, Talon, what do you do once you've gotten to about halfway up the stairs? The stairs do not go the whole way up the cliff side.
Can I tell where the other two had gotten off the stairs or where they went to?
Indeed, you find yourself, um, uh, you see a little wooden structure, kind of like a shed of a sort.
Okay, Talon is Warforged. He's a construct of the Aura set, and there is absolutely no way he is going to be able to pass himself off as one of them. So he's going to try to creep up to a doorway or a window and try to listen in.
This is what you hear, but give me first a perception check.
One of my better skills, and yet I rolled a 9.
You only catch fleeting audio signals of the conversation. Captain, I swear we saw it. It was lights in the sky. And then this thing punched out of the earth. We thought it was the end of the world coming to meet us. Please, have mercy that we abandoned our posts. Concerned voice says, you did right to tell me about this. I will contact the prince, and we will see what we can do, says the voice. It sounds hard, militaristic, and with a serious tone to it. And with that, you do not hear anything more because suddenly the door bursts open. So there is one window right near the door. The thing is, the door and the window are super close together, so there's only like an inch of space. So what they do is they basically bash the door right into you as they open it then, because you're staring through the window or listening through the window, but you're up against the door too without realizing it. So they bash right into you.
Okay, then without missing a beat, I stand up to my full 6'6" height and I boom as loudly as I can, not realizing that my voice is creaking from not being used in centuries. You will take me to the prince.
With a look of absolute shock on their faces, the two guards slash archaeologists stare up at you. It's a gentleman and a lady, and they say, what in the great beyond are you? They look at you. And get out of the way, you tin can, they say. They are as surprised as you, but they seem to have recovered quite quickly. They are trained and have a very severe sounding captain. That same captain, wearing a gray and silver uniform, steps out of the confines of the shelter and puts her hand on her hip. So, this is what was listening after all. She's got long tapered ears, which twitch back and forth. She looks at you. She raises her chin. She's at least 6 feet tall herself, so she's a little shorter than you. She's quite tall. And she puts her other hand on her hip and says, Warforged, she says.
Aye, and you will take me to the prince now. Tell me, which clan of the Auraced runs this territory?
Her eyebrows shoot up in absolute surprise. You're working, she says softer. And with that she says, we'll take you to him. Follow me, she says. With that she starts marching you up. She follows behind you, but she's got something in her hand that looks like a glowing sword, but it's barely visible. It seems to be made out of glass. And it appears in her hand, and she points it at you. Move, she says.
Talon does something that sounds like crushing glass, but was probably meant to be a chuckle. And he says, you would do well to lower your weapon.
Would I now? Says the captain. Her eyes blaze something fierce. Her eyes blaze a bright blue, and her hair seems to morph into a different color. It was originally a silvery white color, and now it becomes a flaming red. Her intense blue eyes look at you, and she says, I fought your kind 400 years ago, she says. And I know how to kill you quite well, she says. Move. If you want to see the prince, you better move.
Talon reaches out with his hand as if he expects it to do something and looks completely and utterly surprised when nothing happens. Kind of cocks his head and turns back to the captain and says, "I shall follow your command, for now."
She grins roguishly and says, "That's what I thought." And with that, she marches you up into a cavern where there is a bunch of camps. She says, "The prince will be here in about a week. You can wait over there and figure out what your life entails for the rest of it. There are 5 Jerishon keeping an eye on you," she says. "People with swords that can cut through you like butter," she says. And she holds up the glass like glowing edged blade, and she says, "We're watching. Now stay put." Yi Sang and Aaron's group, along with Koi and his guards. Koi receives some sort of communication. You're not sure how. It seems to be some sort of mental mind link or something. Because his eyes flare and he says, "The thing has awakened. The thing we supposed was down there," he says. And he looks at Howie, and he looks at you, Aaron, and he looks at Yi Sang. Are any of you, by any chance, calligraphers, scholars, or people who have studied the arcane arts?
I want to make an insight check.
Okay, go ahead.
I got a 13.
And what are you doing your insight check on?
I want to check if she's trustworthy.
Well, I think it's Koi that's talking to you.
Oh, okay. In that case, I'll be like, "Yes, I am a calligrapher. Is there something wrong?"
What's the most powerful ability you have? Koi says seriously. His eyes look terrified.
As in spells?
Yes, he says.
Well, I think I can use burning hands.
He says. That might have to do. Anything to use against metal? He says.
Well, fire would sure hope burn through it.
He smiles. Oh, we got covered on that point then. With that, he manifests his glowing edged orange blade. It looks like glass itself. This should come in handy then, he says before it looks like he resheaths it at his hip. With that, he nods. Come on. And you guys reach the edge of the clearing overlooking the Siri Gulch. And you find yourselves, give me a minute, staring at snow. Oddly enough, at the edge of this forest, it seems there's such a drastic change in temperature. You see snow. And a strange looking structure that looks an awful lot like a grave.
Aaron's snorting in confusion.
That's what I thought too. But it's a barrier my father made, Koi confesses. It's a place that seems to be strange in nature. But you will see that it is anything but. It's a mass illusion, he says. But what you do see is this metal gate set into basically the edge of the snowy illusion. And this is what it looks like. The trees here, even though you still feel the balmy warmth of a rainforest, look cold and desolate like this. But there's this gate leading off into the mist. and it's topped by 2 spires and a strange cross-like shape like you see here, but with 7-pronged star symbol, which I unfortunately was not able to draw. And the cross is in the center. Are you willing to come with me to go through that gate? He says.
Of course.
Of course.
Very well, he says. And with that, out of his sleeve, he pulls what looks like a lockpick, but it actually is a thin little looking metal rod. Touches it against the gate, and the gang wings open into a darkened cavern. And you hear as the metal gate springs open and slams against the sides of the walls. And you enter a cavern in a very brightly red colored area. And it looks like where Talon found himself, but is still waiting. Talon, what do you do? Go
At
ahead.
this point, I am not a horse because I don't think the horse would do very well in the cavern, since horses don't have dark vision, apparently.
Nope.
Okay, so at this point, how long have I been waiting?
You've been waiting 6 days.
And have any of the guards been willing to talk to me during that time?
The only person who's talked to you is the captain of these guards.
Okay, because
Right here.
I'm gonna be searching for intel, try to understand what has happened here in the canyon, how long I have been unconscious, dead, not awake, um, what the battle looks like between the natives and the Aura said, anything that she's willing to give me.
Well, she tells you she explains it's been 400 years since the battle that you fought, and she says that the native peoples were victorious, specifically the Koanese people. The kingdom of Koa is what she refers to, with the capital of Maru. And she starts talking about a bunch of words that don't make any sense to you, but in light of that, you hear the word Aeowe, which means world. You hear the connotation of how the kingdom of Kauawe and Aeowe, the name of Aeowe means like one kingdom, one world, one people. Sort of reference with the language change. And then she also goes over they were researching you Warforged because of the fact that she didn't think any were still alive. They thought they'd wiped him out. They also lost the youngest daughter of King Arcanon that day. Specifically, a beautiful, young, blonde-haired figure with a glowing smile and a scarf she was known as the chicken heiress because of her love of the strange creatures, which you picture as roasted in your mind more than anything. Mentioned that she took down the most mighty of the Orsed within that battle. But she went missing after that. There was an explosion of light, and no one saw what became of her. But they say that she's buried in a deep forest somewhere back near Maru for the remains they found of her.
So yeah, Talon does not respond at all when she tells that part of the story. What is the captain's name?
This is Captain Valen.
So yeah, Talon is just going to try to engage with her whenever she's willing to talk. But otherwise, he just stands there completely motionless, just like a statue.
Oh, she relays this last story to you. The gate to the cavern that you're in bursts open, and, well, you guys know the rest. Why don't you describe what you look like bursting in epically to some sort of cavern underground?
A blue woman made of water comes through. Her skin is see-through blue. Her eyeballs are white, creepy looking, but also pretty at the same time. Definitely not human. Almost ghost-like, but definitely a water person. She has blue hair. It's wavy. Kind of looks like tentacles, but it's just made of water as well.
Okay, I have to ask, how tall is Howie?
We'll say Howie's about average height, 5'5".
We'll retcon that into a 5'2".
That works.
So he's slightly smaller than Howie. But yeah, 5'2", elf-looking thing with green hair. Not wearing a shirt, and what little clothes he is still wearing have twigs and leaves and fur all sort of sticking out of him. He looks like he was part of some sort of military contingent, because it looks like it may have been part of a uniform at one point. But yeah, he definitely hasn't kept up with it.
I'm a 5'9" girl with long hair, middle part, wearing like a kind of a dress shirt with like reverse tapered sleeve, a waistcoat, trousers, and then boots with an overcoat that I wear like a cape.
What color is it?
It's in black and white, and the coat is black and gold with like gold outlines.
And there you stand. Talon, as well to their somewhere within the party. A figure who's about 6 feet 2 inches stands above them, taller than everybody, and he's got a piercing orangish red pair of eyes that look locked directly with yours. There's a little bit of a recognition moment for him, and he wears a blue cape that's gently blowing in whatever breeze came through. With him, he's got long black hair that's tied back into like a gather at the base of his neck, and he's got a well-trimmed goatee and kind of a beard as well. And at his hip rests a glowing glass-like orange sword.
Okay, so recognizing him as the most probable person to be the prince, Talon snaps his tonfa up into a sharp military salute, dropping it back down along his side, and says, "Prince, it would appear that I have been forsaken by the Orised, and should I return, my life is forfeit. It would appear that I am your prisoner."
It would also appear that you are a statue that is talking.
What wonderful magics.
Talon just looks down at Aaron and kind of growls.
Yeah, right back at you. This is the big thing that we was all scared of?
You don't want to know what they could do 400 years ago, Koi simply says. Marches forward with a crisp kind of air. He looks like he's got training himself. Suddenly, he's not the laid-back prince you've been having on the journey with you. He draws his sword and points it directly at your chest, Talon. He looks you deep into your eyes and says, or what he thinks are your eyes, and he says, You were the one that we've been looking for. And yes, you are my prisoner. We will speak this evening. But for now, you three, he points to you, Talon, and he then gestures to Aaron, Howie, and Yi Sang, and he says, look at what he is, and keep an eye on him while I go talk to the captain. He says, With that, he steps away from you all to confer with the captain, who clearly is impressed and happy that her prince is nearby.
Keep an eye on him. Okay, well, I can't take my eyes out. Can you take your eyes out, Howie?
I wanted to, but I don't feel like it.
I could assist you with that.
You know, I could assist you with that as well.
You are an aberration among your people, are you not?
Could you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, because I didn't get that one either.
Yeah, I don't understand that word.
You do not conform to the known races of this land. You are different. Are you defective?
Hey now, that's not nice to say about a lady.
Thank you, Aaron. Yes. Now, how would you feel if we said that about you, by chance?
The truth is, I am defective.
Well, I would say I'm not defective, but can change what others think of me. Anyways, why do we have to babysit this machine? Who programmed this Autobot to say such nasty things?
I'm still trying to get over the fact that this is like a statue that talks. I mean, is there some sort of hamster that runs around inside your head? He's kind of looking around at, like, just circling over and over again.
Well, if he can talk like this, don't you reckon that he has something more than a program?
Unlikely. Constructs can be made.
I am no mere construct. I am Yusta.
Used to what?
I find it amazing that such an underdeveloped civilization has withstood the onslaught of the Auracid this many centuries.
Joke's on you. We're so dumb we don't even understand what the Auracid are. Well, Yusang probably does. Maybe Aaron, but
Did I roll what's it called? 1 second. History?
Yeah, I'm not proficient in history, apparently.
Alright, give us some history for our listeners.
I got a 30-20.
Well, that's impressive. A 16 plus 4 from your additive. Guessing on the intelligence side?
Yes.
Cool stuff. Well, Warforged were part of an invading force the Ors had first used when they came to the realms of Aeowe. Part of the invading force that first conquered Aeowe back in 400 years previous to this, Arcanen, who was the father of Koi Gustava, the prince, had it where he and his 7 children went to war with those who went to invade the realms. And in this case, what happened was he was able to stave off the invasion due to the powers his children possessed, known as the Jurashon. Following that, what happened was the realm knew peace, and you guys know the world as kind of in a stagnant war with the remains of the Orcid. At this point in time called the Orocid as a unit, and or also known as the Blood Alchemists, those who steal the blood of the Jurashon to power their vehicles, weapons, and other things. And that is why there is a war in the shadows for dependent children born with the Jurashon blood. And one of the reasons you guys are on this archaeological expedition in the first place is in order to turn the tides of the war that has been going on at a stagnant tide for the last 400 years.
However, Howie was kind of an outcast for a bit, so she has a lot of catching up to do about the culture.
And this is why Yi Sang is the calligrapher in the group. She might have a few more insights into things.
So
Well-
is the prince then one of the 7?
That would be correct.
Do I know where he ranks among the 7 children?
6th in line to the throne. As you all are staring at this construct, a strange thing happens. For as you're staring, Koi turns around from what he is doing, looks directly into the eyes of Yu Yi Sang and says, "Duck!" And suddenly, to your amazement, a large blast of light envelops the chamber, and you find yourselves blinking at a sort of daze. Standing, with daylight spilling in, is a large figure wearing strange set of armored greaves that glow red with energy. And this thing looks like it has slammed through layers of solid rock and is standing ready to attack.
That's not a duck.
Why is he so red? I can't see anything.
Obviously, we're being attacked right now. Perhaps I get behind you.
The thing advances forward towards Koi and his captain of the guard, Balin.
Stop right there.
Talon will move to put himself between it and the prince.
Orders are orders. Command executed to fullest potential. We have found energy source surge. Step forward, organized beings. It is time. You hear a clicking, and suddenly, stepping up from behind this hulking figure are red and black armored soldiers with red visors that glow in eerie color within the semi-darkness, other than the torches you guys have for light. And they aim what looks like a very powerful recurve bow apiece. They're a rank, about 10 of them, with these bows. Some have swords on their hips.
Talon will shout out to them, "I am Eusta 7410N. You will stand down and cease this moment."
Unregistered name, comes the reply. You are no threat. And so, you roll for initiative.
Thank you for listening to Heroes of Aeowe. Our Dungeon Master is Annalai the Fanif. Howie Gotis is played by Sanguine. Jung-Yi Sang is played by myself, Daniel. Aaron Cloudspark is played by Neuron. Talon is played by Mike. Music provided by Tim Galvin. And social media support by Assassin King 007 on Discord.